Welcome, everybody, to our fourth installment of the Hustlers Huddle. I got a special co-host with me today, producer PJ.Toms. At PJ.Toms. What's up, man?
How's it going, everyone? Good to be here. Excited about tonight's episode, dropping this episode. Been talking about it for a while, so we're getting it done.
Yo, Mr. Again, there I go with the Mr. It wasn't him, it was Sir Whitwell. For those of us that followed the podcast last week, Sir Whitwell is out still enjoying a little bit of that Labor Day vibes, getting that vacay, because even the best hustlers got to chill sometimes. I still got a little Labor Day vibe going, bro. I had to feel it. I'm just saying, a little, red, white, and blue, little stars.
I'm digging it, man.
You like that? You like that?
I'm digging it.
Hell yeah. So, we're super excited. So not only are we obviously going to continue to talk about what we always do, but today's kind of going to be a little unique. How should I say? A different approach. Something that we don't typically do. So we've got a very, very special guest that we're happy to introduce you. I know you guys can see him here. I'm going to let PJ do the introductions. But I don't know. Maybe before that, maybe we tee up a little something, or what do you think, PJ? You roll.
Yeah. I mean, I've known this guy for a little bit. Ride or die. I mean, great heart.
Yeah, he's a real rod.
Yeah, man. He's got nothing but heart. Nothing but heart. Just a cool cat. I think it's going to be a good time, and I purposely brought him here for us to take a dive into his life a little bit.
Yeah, so without further ado, PJ, tee it up. Check this out, guys. This is something special for you. Hey, by the way, props to producer PJ. Y'all see the new visual ad addition? Heyo. Always got to wait on that Wi-Fi, right? Yo, Spectrum, if you're watching, upgrade this, mofo. Come on, what are we doing out here?
This is not good.
PJ, you're
unacceptable.
What's going on?
We'll get it running.
Here we go. Check it out.
Then behold, a pale horse, and his name was Death.
Damn, it's real.
I don't pass with the scam like everyone else does. I don't pass with the scam. Now, you know what the truth is? Forgive them about wrestling. Why do you think they're running a pay-per-view every month?
Young guys in the roster, all they're doing is following instructions. And so they stop thinking.
What?
So they stop thinking.
And so they stop thinking.
This is legit, bro.
You think I'm crazy now? Am I all hype? Is it all just a gimmick? Gimmick is a gimmick.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, PJ, with no further ado, please introduce, sir.
So, thank you guys. I'd like to welcome Mr. Russell Scott Hamby to the show tonight. He is a good friend of mine. We're gonna learn a little bit about him. He's wrestled. He's overcome some obstacles. He's had some headwinds. The man is definitely a character. And please, without further ado, Scott.
No. Hey, thank y'all for having me, man. And for intently or purposely inviting me. Usually I get kicked out purposely, but you guys purposely invited me to the show. So
yeah, we're going to get into that kicking out a little bit later, because from what I understand, man, you've got a nice history of kicking people out. So we'll talk about that. But dude, I mean, without further, I gotta dive in. I mean, bro, what did I just watch? That was intense.
That was a blessing, man. A guy named Derek. What's the notes on that, Derek?
Aberson.
My buddy. Sorry, I got a lot of brain trauma, but I'll get to it. Derek Aberson and my buddy Jason Keenan, they made that for me. And basically what it was is when you try out with WWE and all that stuff, it's the only place where they give you a platform, an idea of what you look like. You know what I mean? And for me, I was like, okay, well, how can I get people to notice me outside that? You know what I mean? That's the only dance in town, right? And there's other little companies that popped up, but for me to get noticed, and that was just it. I mean, you wouldn't believe what came from that. People.
So this is a marketing piece, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm old school, so like I believe in the old school wrestling. You know what I mean? A lot of people have exposed the business the last few years, but I told her on the way here in the car, like, people learn a lot about wrestling online, and they use their terms and they're hip. And I will get in a fist fight with somebody about it because, the old school wrestling.
We don't want to do that here,
No,
Scott.
brother.
We're good. No, I'm just kidding.
The old school wrestling was like this, okay? If me and PJ were fighting each other on Saturday night, handsome good guy, ugly bad guy, right? And if I see him outside the bar, outside of the bar, I'm gonna punch him right in his face.
So
I
old
want it
school
to be
wrestling was
believable.
real.
I just did the believability of it. You know what I mean?
So did these guys actually so taking that same exact scenario, you and PJ, you're old school wrestlers, right? You're opposite, whatever. You fight each other. You see each other at the bar. You don't have a drink together? Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels don't pull up a cold one, or
they probably wouldn't, and they shouldn't, and they know those guys are old.
No. I'm trying to understand because that's
Well,
cool.
it's
Okay,
like this,
all right.
and like it depends too. Like territories, like Puerto Rico.
Into territories now, bro.
The beef's real, right? Like there's
if
real
you
beef.
walk up in Puerto Rico, you better swing on that person. Why are you going to go buy a ticket to watch fake fighting? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I don't want to
but
discount.
Are you going to buy a ticket when you go, man, I don't know, dude, they were throwing down. If you hear about us throwing down in the bar 2 days before that.
So the show never stops.
You're going to, I mean.
So the hustle is ongoing.
When it comes to me.
Always.
When it comes to me, it's always cranked to a 10. Because people say that's all they wanted to do. Wrestling for me was the one thing I could do and not go to jail. I could crank me up to a 10.
That's what's
I could
up.
crank me up to a 10 and can't nobody do nothing.
So at the risk of offending you, and I
No.
do not want to, I agree with you. Like, so my brother, my pops, always into that wrestling, right? They come to town. And dude, I grew up like, not to say that it's still a fighting style, but Taekwondo. So we actually hit each other, right? But watching UFC, watching actual people fight, I was always of the mindset, I don't want to watch a show. I want to watch people fight. Like if it's a fight, I want to fight. So I agree with you. And I don't want to call what you do a show, but
it is.
But it is essentially what you're telling me. But it's always ongoing. So it's a lifestyle, really.
It's also the type. Some wrestlers wrestle stiff. I mean, I can show you all the stuff I do. You're gonna go. I swear.
We're watching. This is you, I believe, right?
Yeah, you're gonna.
So what is this? Tell me about this. So tell me a little bit. What am I watching right here?
That's me wrestling Japan legend Gato. Gato was a Japan legend in New Japan, and that's my crazy bearded. Like if you I look like a yard gnome. Like I'd be sitting in your yard protecting your plants. Like that's what I look.
That's hilarious. Hey,
like,
yo, dude.
I can tell you
protecting more. You'd be protecting more than plants.
Money's on that dude right there.
I can tell you where a pot of gold is, and I can tell you, like, I can protect your plants. That guy looks. I mean, look at him. Didn't he look like a bad guy in a movie?
Yo,
right, both of us.
Yeah, but I was gonna say both of y'all.
Yeah, it was an honor.
Look, so this right here. So where he's telling you to calm down. Like, is that a coordinated?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to know. Hey, the magician never reveals his secrets.
Man, what was I about to just say? When you go see Chris Angel, he ain't gonna tell you.
No, and I respect that. I don't.
So check it out.
Yo, hey, right here on the Hustlers Huddle, we're getting the real right here. Scott Summers, y'all check that out. YouTube.
Do you think all UFC fights are real? Have you ever watched one and went, dude?
So I've never. So not just UFC, boxing.
Right. Have you ever watched it?
Yes. Bro, not just UFC. All right, so let's be real. I've seen basketball games where I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen football games.
Yeah, lately
I've seen,
there's been a lot of
I'm like,
controversy about
come
that.
on, dude.
Amen. In wrestling, it's called a work. It's a work. So, but you don't like. That's what I try to tell people. If you don't think for 1 second, I mean, look at UFC. I'm not worried about offending them because I'm never going to get a job there. But you let Brock Lesnar, juice to the gills, still fight. Why? Because he brings money to the table.
He brings exactly. Hey,
People
no offense to Joe Rogan, we love you, bro.
Hey, Joe,
Idol,
man.
Hey, hashtag idol.
Joe. And you know what? And that's another thing. Like, I heard somebody had talked about Joe Rogan, right? And they were talking about some fan heckled him, right? They were heckling a guy that was on his podcast.
Do me a favor, brothers. Get up on. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
They were heckling a guy that was on his podcast, and for me, I watch him more sometimes just because of Joe Rogan. That's my guy, man.
Joe Rogan is the guy. And what people don't realize about him, and this is why I say, hashtag idol, like, he's the real deal.
Big time.
Like, he's not out here selling a whatever. He believes what he believes, and he will spin him back. He'll kick the shit out of you, bro.
Did you ever see him teach, what's his name? George St. Pierre, the back kicks?
I haven't seen that. Is that badass? What? Pull that up.
It's legit. Look up Joe Rogan.
Are we allowed to pull this up? Is this?
I don't know.
I don't
But you
copyright?
can watch it on y'all's. You can see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can pull it on the big thing.
Well, we'll pull it on the big
But
thing.
yeah, he
Everything's
does-
connected, bro. Hey.
And that's what I liked about Joe Rogan, is because Joe Rogan gets it. A lot of those guys, but back to the whole thing. It's a show. You know what I mean? I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. Does Conor not remind you of Ric Flair? That dude gets out there with his glasses on.
Yo. Let me get 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Woo! What?
Hey.
You wanna hear
How does everybody know what that means, bro?
You want to hear my Ric Flair?
Do it.
Whether you like it or you don't, learn to love it. Because it's the best thing going today.
Yes, dude. Woo! He said, hold on.
That's still not the look. I got him for days. I'll do another one real quick. Ready? This is my favorite.
Yo, tell me you got some sand.
No.
Bro, hold on.
You got macho in there?
Yeah, hear you over here asking for wrestlers. Asking. Maybe I'll give you the best, the cream of the crop, the Macho Man Randy Savage. I see you over here looking at my girl like she's Miss Elizabeth here, but you don't know that I know. Dusty Rhodes.
Yo, the
Dusty
cream of
Rhodes
the crop,
is
Randy
the
Savage is one of my all-time favorites, bro.
Randy, dude.
Dude.
Like, grew up watching WWE.
The
Come on, man.
Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Me and-
Ultimate Warrior, dude, that was
So-
insane.
So I have my tag partner, my life partner, my best friend. His name's Ryan Genesis, right?
That's cute. Hashtag Ryan Genesis,
Hey,
bro. Tag partner like that.
Hey, he's my life partner. He's a beast, man.
Hash
And,
browns.
Yes.
What does Ryan do? What do you mean he's a beast? What?
I'll tell you this. I know it's just a bag and it's stationary, but in wrestling, most of the time, one of the guys are a problem, right? Because people get in there and they wanna be tough all the time. You know what I mean? Like, this is what Jerry Lynn taught me. Jerry Lynn's my mentor. Jerry Lynn is
I was gonna say, who's Jerry Lynn? Who?
Jerry Lynn used to fight Rob Van Dam all the time. If you look up Jerry Lynn, Rob Van Dam, he's the guy they essentially kind of made that movie The Wrestler after. He was one of them. It's my daughter's godfather.
No
He's pretty much
kidding,
like
bro.
my Dr. Dre. If you know anything about like music, what Dre did for M and brought him
No.
to
I'm sorry. Bring me back. Who is Dr. Dre and who's Eminem?
Okay, well, Dr. Dre was a guy that used to.
Yo, bro. So that's dope. So this guy Jerry is in what? In the wrestling world, the fighting world?
He's
a Dr.
in
Dre,
wrestling.
essentially?
He's a legend. You know, he was the only person that RBD was just known for being super amazing athletic, and he was the only guy that could go move for move with him.
That's badass.
Like, you can
dude.
just watch him, and he just took a liking to me. He let me be me.
You know, we were talking about this last week. We had a guest who's a boxer. And I don't know if we necessarily got into it on air, but we were talking afterwards or at some point about how catching, right, when you got the mitts, is as good sometimes a workout, and you've got to be as fluid and like as quick as the action.
Hands.
You
You
got to
control
have
the hands in a
You
wrestling match. You pretty much got it, right? I mean,
Well,
So what do you think is?
but it's a little more than that, obviously.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's a great point, PJ.
I mean, I played football in college. I can tell you, pro wrestling's the hardest thing I've ever done.
No, so, well, I can
Here's
only
what-
imagine because you got to
here's the way
keep
you
that
look at it.
impact, right? That excitement.
So it's like beating yourself up. You've seen Fight Club? Remember Fight
Yeah.
Club where he punches himself, he throws himself through the glass table? That's pro wrestling.
Yo, bro, apparently you haven't seen Fight Club.
Oh,
You
bro, I
forgot.
am
You
Fight
forgot
Club.
the
Let me
first rule, bro.
Let me show you
You
something.
forgot. No. Yo, you
Hey,
forgot
hey,
the
hey.
first rule. Take it easy. All that matters.
Hey,
We don't talk about Fight Club.
Let me show you something.
Oh,
Can we get in on that?
dang,
Are
get
we
that.
getting
Yeah,
in?
get that. Here, put that up here, bro. Get that zoom.
See that? No, maybe it says Fight Club.
No, it'll be there. That's what's up.
Established. But I get it's the rule, but I compare it to Fight Club. It's like Fight Club. There's many times I wrestled in like this small little basement. It was like Fight Club. And it was a cool, because that's what I always felt like pro wrestling really was. You know what I mean? It was like our own, like independent wrestling's like Fight Club.
Hey, man. So I want to dive a little deep here.
Sure.
If that's all right. So you
Dive
brought
in,
up
dive.
Fight Club. We're talking about wrestling.
Mhm.
You know, the guy who usually sits in the seat, Chris Whitwell, talks a lot about it. And there's a scene in Fight Club where Brad Pitt's character is going off, right, talking about how we were all told to go to college, and you know what I'm talking about. You know the speech. You probably can recite it better than me. Do you know what the line for say? Because I don't know verbatim.
Something he says, he goes, basically, we were all taught, wanted to be movie stars, rock stars. If you watch in the movie, he stops, he turns to Jared Leto and goes, rock stars, before Jared Leto was ever famous.
Before he was up,
He knew that dude was a beast. Yeah.
Bro. That's actually cool. I never noticed that. But
things you
go on
own-
with the point.
The things you own end up owning you. It's not till you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. Putting feathers up your butt does not make you a chicken. And this is a lot of stuff that's helped me through life. It sounds quirky and stuff, but dude, it's helped me through my life. Honestly, that movie's deep on so many levels.
It's very deep, man. That's why I said not to take a left turn, not to go into that deepness, but listen, like I feel like you're uniquely positioned to provide us with that insight, right? In that sense. The other thing that I want to touch on, if you're okay with, you mentioned earlier, right? The brain injuries, the things that come along with it. We're seeing it all day, man, whether it's NFL, whether it's UFC, whatever. Like, it's becoming a serious epidemic, right? And a lot of people.
It's been serious.
Well, you're right. Actually, you're exactly right. So look at me. It's been serious. We're just now actually like recognizing it. So that's a great point. Speak to that, man. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, you know, and I get what people say. Then I'm like, okay, well, tell that to like Junior Seau's family. You know what I mean? It's been serious. Junior Seau's.
So for those of you guys that don't know, I mean, Google Junior Seau. See that story. Google. I'm sorry. Who's the Chiefs guy?
Derek Thomas, right?
I don't remember. That's what I'm saying. You're probably.
I think it was Derek Thomas. Or actually, it was a linebacker.
It was something like that.
Derek Johnson. It was a linebacker.
Look at all these.
But I mean,
people.
you don't even have to go there. You can go to Aaron Hernandez. If you don't think for 1 second what he did, when they pulled his brain up,
it's wrought with that, man.
Chris Benoit. If we're gonna talk about wrestling again.
Chris Benoit,
that dude offed his whole family.
That's crazy.
For a whole weekend.
That's crazy, dude.
And they pulled his brain up, and he had the brain of an 86-year-old man.
Man,
it's real.
This is real.
Yes, sir.
And this is so like, all right, so like the other fact of it that's real is think about it. No offense again, right?
No.
You got guys like you that are still chasing it, that are still saying, well, maybe not to this point, but at some point in your life, you were saying it's worth this kind of investment for me in the long term. Is that who'd you pull up?
That's Jerry Lynn, right? We wanted to pay a little homage to.
It's my boy Jerry Lynn, the nicest guy in pro wrestling, believe it or not. That dude's
hashtag Jerry Lynn. What's up, brother? So tell me a little bit about him. We'll come back to the brain injury, but since we got him up.
So he was just the guy that could go with Rob Van Dam. If you look up Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam, RVD is amazing. He Stone Cold had Austin 316. Well, RVD had RVD 420, and you already know what that is. That's right. But if you go like here.
Oh, whoa! Was that a touchscreen? Did you just do that, bro?
I did that.
No, don't go to another one. Did you see that? Go to this one right here.
Boom.
That 29-22. But Jerry Lynn, everybody liked Rob Van Dam, and I liked him. I don't know why, because I usually like the guys like Rob Van Dam. I've been compared to Rob Van Dam just as far as like our attitudes and how we go about it. But like, you can watch the beginning of this match, and it's just the beginning of it. And these two do more in their match. Wrestling's changed too. Wrestling's also.
So tell me about talk me through this. Like when you said they do more, because I'll watch it. I see a show. So tell me what you mean they do more. Lower that a little bit so you can kind of give us the play-by-play.
I know this match verbatim off the top of my head.
All right. Yeah, give me the play-by-play, right? Check this out, dude. Only on the Hustlers Huddle, we got pro wrestlers giving the play-by-play for a pro wrestling match. Turn it up, he says.
So basically, Rob Van Dam is higher than Giraffe Pussy right now. Sorry, but dude, look at him. He's
on what? What did they take?
Marijuana, brother.
All right,
RVD 420. But if you look at him,
there you go. Yeah.
It zooms in on him. He's so like when he shows him right here, he's so high, dude. Oh my God. Look at him. Rob Van Dam.
Whoa.
Yo.
That kick was dope.
He's legit.
Well, he's an athlete, man.
He's Van Dam's brother, bro.
World record for splits on chairs with the weight. No bullshit. He's a beast.
What?
So how does he stack up against John?
I mean, he's way bigger than that dude, though. That dude right there, Jerry's about my height, my size right there. But this dude, that dude's like 6'2", bro.
And still able to move like that.
No, that's nothing. Just wait till this match pops off.
And so, but Jerry keeps with him, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and nobody could ever do that. It was nuts. You know what I mean? It's like somebody guarding LeBron. It's like, whoa, man, that guy Patrick Beverly or something.
So it's like Kawhi. Is what, all right, okay. So Jerry is Kawhi is what you're telling me. Sorry, hashtag Spurs, yo.
Hey,
but come on, the truth is the truth.
Hey, I'm a Celtics.
Gotta let him go.
If you love somebody, let it go. They come back. That's how you know. He ain't coming back. You don't love us. That's cool. Yo, he gave us a championship. That's all we need.
And he gave Toronto a championship.
Yo, can you so not to sidetrack, What player goes, yeah, I'm gonna just hold up here for
No.
a season
Pop's
and
listen to me. Pop's the greatest coach that ever lived.
I don't need to listen to you. I agree. Like I've known
This
that
is
way
coming from
before
a
this
Celtics-
podcast.
This is coming from a Celtics guy.
That's
okay?
true. That's true. Fair.
He's the
That's fair.
greatest coach that ever lived. He sent him there in spite. He wasn't sending him to LA or nowhere.
No.
We're gonna
Pop did that
send
on-
you to BFB Canada. That dude still won.
He was
That's
like,
why he's the best.
I
in
got
the league.
this.
Yes.
So it's not BFE. I don't know if y'all ever been to Toronto.
I hate Drake. I'm sorry.
Yo, Pusha T, calm down out here.
only chicks listen to Drake.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah,
Somebody
hey,
told me that. Somebody
hey,
told me that. I'm just
Chicks
repeating
that
it.
eat pickles and hot Cheetos listen to with Cardi.
Yo, you
So
guys
watch
can't
this
see.
right here
All
real
right, all right.
quick. All right, they're just chain wrestling. And this is before people were started doing it. They're just doing some like a little bit of chain wrestling. He's gonna get up. Most of the time, the bigger guys they don't do this, but these guys make some decent contact too. It's called wrestling stiff.
What is chain wrestling? What do you mean?
Chain wrestling is like where the moves like
Just kind of moving
like
fluid?
like in MMA when they get out of something, he transitions, gets behind him,
Gotcha.
put him in the choke. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, I see it. Like it's just fluid
Drop
movement.
toe hold. He's gonna spin to a front face lock, spin out into a hammer lock. He's gonna put him in a half Nelson. 1, 2. He's gonna kick out. Seen this match a couple of times. Boom. And it was weird meeting the dude because like you can't like mark out to the dude and be like, oh my god, I love you all your matches because then you're an idiot.
Yeah, for sure,
Like
for sure.
there's nothing wrong. Everybody who ever watched wrestling was a mark, but once you become a pro, you have to be a pro.
Understood. So you know what? All right. So PJ doesn't like when I get too into the networking piece and the business piece of the podcast. But listen, I have to capitalize on this. You said something right now that whether you're a wrestler or whatever you are, once you become a pro, you're a pro. Don't act like a mark, bro. Get out there and be a pro, right? We've talked about it before. I don't like that saying, fake it till you make it.
Right.
I like, become the person you want to be, right? Like to me, that's a better, I think a better illustration of how you should go about that versus fake it till you make it. But at the end of the day, it's still the same. Act like you've been here before, man.
Right.
Act like a pro. Don't go up to people and be all, hey, I love you, like whatever the case may be. So.
Yep.
So what do they got going on now? So
he's
what's
gonna
this?
shoot him at a headlock. He's going to hit him with a tackle. He's going to hit the ropes. He's going to drop down. RVD's going to drop down right here. He hits the splits. Watch. He's going to hit the splits right here. Bop. Splits.
Woo!
Leg drop. He's going to duck the kick. He's going to sweep the leg. He's going to drop the elbow. He's going to move.
So
drop the leg
this
drop,
isn't
bop.
coordinated? This has to be coordinated, bro. This is like, yeah, choreographed.
I mean, okay, some of it, but I mean.
No, I'm not calling out the secrets. I'm saying this is
But check this out.
athleticism, bro.
But that's the thing is wrestling's like sparring, right? Because you're gonna spar, you're still hitting each other, making
Right.
But you can get tagged during, and it just depends. Some of my best matches were people I didn't like because it looked good.
So you actually had that animosity.
I'm
You actually
sure.
had that.
Yeah.
That makes
Wrestling's
sense.
the most craziest sport where if I don't like PJ, we're gonna have a good match because he's not gonna sabotage a match and make me look bad.
No, you guys are both
that makes you what? Unprofessional. And I'm not gonna make him look bad because it makes me unprofessional. On the contrary, it's different. Is that right? Contrary.
I like contrary. Whatever. Let's like Cointreau. Whatever. I mean,
Contrary.
it's still good.
So the best way to show somebody up as wrestling is how good you make them look. You see what I'm saying? So I don't like him. I'm gonna shine him up like a new penny. He's gonna look good. Then what's to be said? That I'm a pro.
See,
I see
Because if you don't
exactly
like
what you're saying.
somebody, you make them look good.
I remember a lot of your matches. You've showed me that a lot of your matches, you're bleeding, man. You're just like it's a mess. It's a bloody mess.
Pull up
that's a
that,
real deal.
That's my thing.
That video from earlier that you were showing me, where his back's all, you know what I mean? Like
that was a death match. I would get into death matches too.
What is a death match? What, bro?
Death
What
matches
are we
like
even
thumb
talking
tags,
about?
Light tubes. Yeah.
Kumte.
I brought. So when I go to
And by the way, anybody, hold on, time out. This is a Hustlers Huddle tagline. Hashtag Kumite. If you understand what the Kumite is, you're a hustler.
You're in the huddle.
Yeah, you're in the huddle. You're in the huddle, baby. Hashtag Kumite.
does it make you a hustler if you were actually almost in the Kumite?
No, bro.
absolutely-
It makes you the boss of hustlers. So tell us about
I
that.
was in Japan. I wrestled for a company called Freedoms, and there was light tubes all around the ring. And if I tell you, if I'm not gonna lie and tell you I wasn't shitting a chicken, dude, there were light tubes all around the ring. I'm talking light tubes, bro. These things right
Yeah. Fluorescent
all
tubes.
around the ring.
So like what? So if you fall out, you step on them and you crack.
They're gonna smash these over my head in a country.
Oh,
18 hours away, and I don't know a lick of Japanese, and I'm walking to this thing going,
That's not Kumite. That's cray cray.
I'm gonna fucking die here is what's gonna happen. I'm freaking out.
So what happened?
We rocked the house.
So what'd you do? You got glass tubes broken
Of
over you?
course. I can show you
PJ,
something
who
now.
do you have in our studio
Look up.
here? What do we?
So,
PJ.
so I was gonna
Show him where I
say,
busted
so
my head
he doesn't know the extent of your travel, and I've actually heard some of these stories before, but you were in Japan,
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
Where's your favorite spot?
You were wrestling all over the
I
world.
mean, I'm partial to Mexico because certain individuals that live there, the Latin women. I love Latin women and Latin dudes. They're all handsome.
Who doesn't?
I was just gonna say, yo,
It's just a
you're
beautiful-
barking up
it's
the
just
right
a-
tree
hey,
here.
It's just a beautiful country. Beautiful
Where's your favorite
people.
spot in Mexico?
Boys Town. I mean, I'm just
All
saying.
right. So for those
you
of you not from here, that's right across the border in Matamoros. Do not go there.
This is
And
for
this is-
science.
yo,
I was
Do not go there.
Science, yeah, don't
I
go
have
there.
to. Yo, what's the disclaimer? Please do not attempt to see the things you see on this program.
Don't do this at home. Seriously, don't do anything.
No,
that
for
this
real.
guy does
Don't
at
go to
home.
Boys
So
Town.
there's two O's in Mother Goose Boys. By the way, there's one T in Scott Summers.
Oh, thank you.
Yo, 1T, Scott Summers,
It's all right.
1T.
And if you look up, actually erase all that, put Masada Hall Driver. So I was wrestling at CZW and I bust my head open. Took 40
I
staples.
like the specificness behind it.
40 staples to the head.
What?
Yeah, put up Paul Driver. Yeah, I just the stun went bad and I bust my head and then I
Oh,
PILE driver. Come on, Phonics, work for him. You're good.
I'm glad you said it, Scott. I was about to make a comment out here.
Is this it?
Yeah, so that's my head getting smashed. Go
Oh,
to
come on.
yeah, there goes.
Yo, is this TV for? Oh,
So yeah.
sorry. Oh,
So
sorry.
so right, okay. So go back and pause it so I can show you something. The best part. Go back, like Berman. Back. Right. Okay. Pause it right there. Pause it. Keep going a little bit more. Gosh, it's like when I watch movies by myself. Keep going. Keep going.
PJ, who do you got here?
Stop. Okay, all that underneath me right there is glass.
Oh my
Because we
God, I
were throwing
see
each
that.
other
I
through
see
sheets-
that.
We were throwing each other through sheets of glass because that's safe, right?
What-
So we were throwing each other through tempered sheets of
So
glass.
where is this at, bro?
This is in somebody's field in Delaware at CZW.
That's dope.
The most violent wrestling company in the world at the time. So my dumb ass like, hey, let me headbutt it. So this is my brain sticking out of my head right here.
Holy garbage.
So then
bro.
I kick out because I want to be an asshole like that. 1 to 1. So he's gonna go back.
Dude, look at your head
Yeah.
split, bro.
Yep. Go to another one. See if they show it because I think this one's looped. So he's gonna pin me. Yeah, he goes to pin me right here, and I kick out like a jerk. 1, 2, kick.
Why would you do that, bro?
Why? Because that wasn't the end of the match.
So what's the end of the match? What does that match end like? What I
him
mean, you got
beating
your
me.
head
It was
split
a-
open.
Yeah, but I mean,
By your own account, your
I
brains
broke
are
my-
leaking
I broke
out of
my
your skull.
ankle and still was doing it. I'll show you that one. Go to Scott.
Hold
Summers.
on. I want to stay on this subject. So before we go to another one, I mean, we were literally we got brought into this talking about brain injuries.
Yep.
I'm watching the brain. By the way, take that off the screen, bro. But,
It's all good.
yo, man. So what is your day to day like? Do you feel repercussions for that? Do you? I mean, currently, like, if we can get into
Of
that.
course,
I mean,
100%.
what's your thoughts on
An
that?
open book. I don't know how I finished a sentence.
Well, you've done
had
a
a-
fucking phenomenal job
I have
tonight. Sorry for
I'm-
cussing, but I mean,
no, toot my own horn. I have a pretty high IQ, right? A lot of people, you know how people, they judge you how you look and, big dumb, do. I mean,
I think
people-
that's changing a little bit,
well,
man.
it is now, but still, you know what I mean?
Hopefully,
A little
that's
bit.
changing.
Yeah.
If people don't, if people don't get past, like, this is just to push people away. If you can't get past the layers and get to know me, then,
Yeah. Hey, you guys, I don't know if you can see from the angle. He's literally wearing a Marley shirt that says "One Love" and rubbing his chest and saying, "This pushes people away."
Yep.
I'm like, bro, I saw One Love. I just wanted to give you a hug,
That's my
Papa.
daughter.
You know?
It's my daughter, bro.
Oh no shit. She got you that shirt.
Nah, it's just a reminder.
Her name's Marley.
Oh, her name's Marley. Oh, that's
Yeah.
dope,
So,
dude. That's what's up.
like-
How old is she?
She's 8.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah, that's my best friend.
That's dude.
Saved my life.
And let's stay on the brain injury because I could go off. PJ was here.
Cool.
My kids just came to the studio a little bit before we had a little dinner and stuff. And man, like, dude, it's nuts what they do to you,
nuts.
the impact that they have on you. I mean, they change you as an individual. Which I guess you could tie back into the brain injury thing because, like, long term, you've got to have hopes and expectations for her. I assume you probably want to be around. What's
Of course.
the long term prognosis, man? What do you do about that?
I had to chill because I'm a sadomasochist. So basically, like, you hear these kids that are cutters, and like people make fun of them, pick on these poor kids, and then like, but they're cheering us wrestlers and we're cutting ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like they're glorifying us.
Perspective, man. Perspective, right?
They're glorifying us, and I'm like, dude, like
That's a great point, by the way, man.
I would do crazy stuff. I was like abusing myself on purpose. You know what I mean? And I had Marley. She used to come to the matches. My daughter knew everything about wrestling when she was little. Like, she wasn't afraid. And then a few years back, I wrestled in a cage. I don't know if you remember that. I wrestled in a cage, and somebody had videotaped her watching me. Now that she's older, and she was like crying, and she was saying, Scott Summers, go Scott Summers, and that's my stage name. And like, but I had never seen that side of it, but somebody had put it on my Snapchat, and it was like,
oh, that's got to be so powerful, man.
I mean, enough to put me in tears now. It just woke me up, and I was like, you know what, man? She knows what it is, but I mean, the way she was screaming my name was not like, it's like when like somebody watches their kid, their child fight, or maybe even the way Adrian would watch Rocky. I know it sounds cliche, but it hurts. Like, I never realized what I was doing to my family, my mom and my sister. I mean, they do their best to keep us together and keep you healthy and safe. And I'm like going through light tubes, and I wouldn't change it for the world, but my mom basically knew this was what I was going to do. It's what I always wanted to do. So with my kid.
How young were you when you knew you wanted to do this?
I want to wrestle my whole life. There was just no way to get into it.
You never like understood, like, at age whatever, like you were just like, my whole life I want to be
made fun of because I watched wrestling. Wrestling wasn't cool. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Yeah, for a long time it wasn't. You're right.
You're local. I mean, you're from. I mean, you went to school here, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you came, but you ended up going to high school
Boston,
here.
but I went to school here, and like, I mean, I remember when I was in middle school, I had the Ultimate Warrior shirt under my pads. You know what I mean? Like, I've always loved wrestling because it was like a comic book. It was like my release. Like, I could watch wrestling.
I can understand that.
It was like a visual comic book.
And I get that aspect now. So when my brother used to be into it, and I'd be like, man, nobody wants to watch this stuff. And now I zone out to like whatever episodes or whatever's out there. Like,
it's a male soap opera.
Yeah, and then you look at it and you're like, all this is just, it's a different kind of drama. Mm-hmm. It's like, it is an act, it is whatever, but it's, at the end of the day, it's still glorifying. The other thing, man, like, not to this is maybe a little bit heavy, but the guest we had on last week, I mentioned, was into boxing. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about it. We were talking about the early stages of America and how the Irish came over, and they were, quite frankly, the most hated on, right? And this and that, and like, yeah, right? No, so I get it. So, and that's not really where I'm going with this, but where you're talking about, hey, my daughter was sitting there watching me. I told PJ, man, I was after we had that podcast, I was kind of I don't know, inspired or whatever. I was mobilized to movement to watch Gangs of New York again, right? Like, and granted, it's a little dramatic, like,
it's a great movie.
It's an incredible movie, man. The opening scene,
very
right?
Layered.
Incredibly layered, and if you can watch it from that approach, you can see it. But one of the things I appreciate as a father is the opening scene, right, where the priest fights, Bill, right, and or Butcher Bill's character, right, and at the end of the day, like, he dies, and his son is there watching it. And so when you talk about that, the way his son saw, like, helpless, like, I can't get it, like, I'm kind of in a weird way, like, that's the visualization I get. You know what I mean? I know it's a little bit more deep, but it's still, to me, like, they're helpless, and they see us as these totem poles, right? These untouchable figures that can't fall. And then when you fall, it's like, oh man, it's impactful, right?
Our kids see us as the strongest people that ever lived. You know what I mean? Like,
which is scary, because if they only knew.
Yeah, exactly, and stuff like that. I owe my kid everything. My kids saved my life, man.
So
beautiful, the mind of a child, right? Like, I mean, amazing the impact they have. Like it's just
so pure, so innocent. Like, there's nothing. They literally love you undyingly, right?
They get us to stop and slow down and kind of just smell the flowers, I think, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man.
You don't, like, I didn't have, like, my mom raised me by herself. That was my dad and my mom. So I am like Big Daddy. I'm like Adam Sandler and Big Daddy. I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Okay.
I try to,
So I want to go back to this. So pull up again, PJ, if you don't mind. Go back to that Illuminati video, because I want to watch a couple, maybe about a minute more, but I want to touch on this. I want to get into what that means to you.
Sure.
Pull that up. Hey, so what do you guys think about the new visual aid, huh? Hey, taking it to the next level out here.
Next level.
So while he's pulling that up, Scott, man, like, really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you diving deep into these subjects. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're really inclusive of is that hustlers come in all formats, man. You're don't have to be a businessman. You don't have to be a salesperson or whatever. You can be anything if you're out there trying to get it, right? So
it's a mental attitude. I mean, if you look at my fingers right here, it says God, family, hustle, right?
Oh, I didn't even know that. Show that to the camera, bro.
It says God, family, hustle. It's my mantra, right? And it's just, God first always, and then your family second, and then you always your hustle. People, associate hustle with this or hustling somebody or selling drugs. That's not what it's about.
We've talked about it. That's not what it's about at all.
Getting up and hustling, making that money for your family, getting up and keeping yourself busy. I mean,
sometimes it's hard to get up, man. I mean, we've all had those dark times, right? I think all of us have, and I know you have. Like we've talked about it. And that just shows the tenacity that you have, right? Like that hustle, right? It's doesn't stop, man. And you bring it into your personal life, you bring it into your professional life, right?
For me, like, I would have to find people who inspire me daily. And I was like, David Goggins. I found David Goggins online. That dude's amazing, dude. The dude couldn't swim. He is a Navy SEAL and a Ranger, and he couldn't swim. Dude couldn't swim. He had to lose 100 pounds in 3 months. Can't. I mean, who said that? Who said you can't?
Exactly. I mean,
can't is just something people make up in their mind. You know what I mean? Because like what he said with fake it to make it, I used to like say that, right? But it's crazy because I don't like fake people. But when I quit faking it to make it, I mean, it's part of what got me right in life, man.
Yeah, man.
So.
Sounds dope, dude. And I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you came in. Like we're having an amazing time, and just covering all this stuff. It's great. I pulled up that video, Chris's bag. I think we can go ahead and kind of get into this.
Check it out.
Illuminati.
Yo, so real quick, sorry, and not to, I know I'm just
no, you're good, man.
But to elaborate on what you guys were talking about, PJ and I have had this conversation, right? Like, hey, what does hustle mean? And I think it's funny because Hector was here last week and we were talking about. It's a different perspective athletes have, right? An athlete, you hear hustle, and you're reminded of coach saying, hey, hustle up. Hey, get that. I'm reminded of my dad, right? Third grade track. Hustle, right? Like, to me, there's no negative connotation there. It's work harder. It's work smarter. It's move faster. It's do better. It's Mike Tyson running at 4 a.m. because everybody else is sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, that's hustle.
Was that your Mike? When you see Mike Tyson?
Oh, shit. All right, I guess we got to do it. Let's hear it.
That's because I'm the greatest ever. There's nobody never like me. Nobody can't fight. I'll eat your children. I'm the greatest fighter ever.
Yes.
So you win, hands down.
Oh, Mike Tyson.
We love Mike. We love some Mike Tyson.
So here's the definition. And I love what he's done with his life. He changed. Mike Tyson was rock bottom, bro, and now he's amazing. You see the dude. He's happy. He's finally himself. He doesn't want to be Iron Mike Tyson. He wants to just be Mike Tyson.
Did I tell the airport story on air, or did I just tell you guys off air? I don't think I've said this online.
I don't think you've said it.
So check this out, man. So I'm in Vegas. I'm coming back. It's 8 a.m. in the morning, right? Like, if I'm being candid, we had a late night, so I'm not particularly
were you with Mike Tyson though? It's kind of like the hangover.
Yeah, so check this out. Dude, so I'm in the TSA line, right? And I'm like, that's Mike Tyson, right? And I'm like, I don't know though. I don't know.
He's once in a lifetime, bro.
Yo, and then he turns around and he goes, and he's got that tattoo, and I go, that's Mike Tyson, you know?
Mike.
So I walk up to him, right? And I go, man, Mike, hey, Iron Mike, man, like, big fan. I don't normally do this. Like, and I'll be honest, with the example you were saying earlier about pretend, Mike Tyson got me a little bit. I was like, I don't normally do this. Man, can I please?
People leave their jobs to go see Mike Tyson. Like, people can be behind a counter and go, Mike Tyson.
Yo, dude. I was like, can I get a pic, bro? Mike Tyson turns around and goes, yes, certainly. Take a picture, please. We'll take a picture. So I take a picture, right? Boom. Dude, get this. So I text my wife. Oh, you wouldn't believe this. Oh, my God. Dude, the picture's a little blurry. Guess what my wife texted me? The picture's blurry. Take another one. I'm like, I'm not asking Mike Tyson for another picture, man, right? Yo, so what do? I'm like, whatever. Once in a lifetime. You said it right.
Once in a lifetime.
The hardest thing you've ever had to do is asking Mike Tyson for take two.
Dude, you don't understand. And listen, so I will say this. I want to give a disclaimer. I understand there was a period in his life when he was a terrible human being, right?
How?
Well, by beating women and that kind of
True.
stuff. So I do understand that, but I will say this: when I met him in the airport and I went up and I said, Mike, I'm so sorry, man. That picture came out blurry, bro. Can I get another one? He goes, yeah, take your time, by all means. Like he was like, don't rush it. Like let's take a picture. He sat there and posed with me, bro, and did the Iron Mike thing, and I was like,
So you know what you learned?
what's that?
That nasty version of him wasn't him, bro.
We've talked about that.
That was the drugged version of him. That was the version of him. When you don't like yourself, you're not going to like anybody else.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I'm
that's
saying?
deep. So talk about that, man. So talk about that because a lot of people can benefit from this, right? Like
So-
it's not a matter of drugs or fighters. It's people. If you don't like
So
yourself, you
Mike
don't
Tyson,
like other people.
I'll just give you an example. He had like $40 million taken from him
For what?
by the people that loved him, the people that were his
Oh,
handlers.
dude, I thought he was worth up to 400
I
million
know, but they took
and
so
took
much,
all of it.
pretty much. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, he was a kid from the ghetto. When Customato died, Customato was his dude. You know, Customato used to just tell
It
him,
was his life.
Mike,
Told
you're
him
beautiful.
everything.
Mike, you're gorgeous. And Mike was like, why is this old man acting like this to me? He's weird. He's so weird. He's acting like this, and he's calling me like I'm beautiful. I'm not. What? Dude was just, he was instilling in him that he's a real beautiful person. He was giving him confidence from us. You know what I mean? And for me, like, I get the whole thing with Mike Tyson because I've done things I'm not proud of. Mike Tyson lost his daughter. Mike Tyson lost a daughter in an accident on his treadmill.
Can you imagine how you deal with that, dude? As a
No,
father,
you don't outlive your kids, and that's something.
I've dreamt about that and woken up in a cold sweat.
You
Like
know,
the
I watched
idea
him-
of
I watched him apologize to Vander Holyfield and I'm a huge Mike fan. I watched him apologize to Vander Holyfield on Oprah. And the thing is, a lot of people don't get it. Was it okay for him to bite Vander? No. But,
he was in a different place, man.
But check this out. You fight, you get it. So me and you know each other since we're kids, 12. And we're finally going to fight. And you're cheating? You're a great boxer, bro. Box me.
Yeah.
Vander's headbutting him the entire. It doesn't
Right.
make it okay.
No.
But he just got tired of it. And he snapped.
So
you know?
so I got to stick up a little bit for Evander in that
Mhm.
one, right? And the reason why is like Tyson had been doing that kind of stuff his whole life,
course.
his whole career, and then when he got to give him back, he was like,
course.
"Oh wait, somebody's going to do this to me?" You know what I mean? So I don't in any way disagree with what you're saying. Like also, and what I want to touch on is what you're talking about somebody's state of mind,
Mhm.
right? And their mental wherewithal, right? So Tyson will admit he wasn't in the right place, right?
Mhm.
Like, but who could be, bro? You're an 18-year-old kid
The
who's like
greatest in the world, the greatest fighter.
not the greatest. What did he call himself? What did he say? He was the
baddest man on
the
planet.
baddest man on the
think of
planet,
where
bro.
we were when we were 18. You know what I mean?
I thought I was the baddest man on the planet,
Yeah.
and I sure as hell wasn't Mike Tyson. So imagine that, bro.
Like, my thing with him is where he's come. I'm all about the underdog story. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like, I've recently gotten sober, and I found the biggest help was a video that Eric Thomas made. Eric Thomas he's
Pull that up, PJ.
Put Eric Thomas, Buster Douglas, why? I'll play it for you. I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan. Huge. I want to be Mike Tyson. I want to look Mike Tyson. And then the negative stuff, that dude he was the epitome of fear. When he got in there, he was going to eat your face. That dude was 18-year-old, had grown
And your
men
children.
shaking. I'll eat your children. I'll do it all. I don't care. I'm the greatest ever. I'm 1,000 pregnant. But I love the dude, right? And when he lost, when he lost, no, not Michael Douglas. What are you smoking on, buddy?
What
romancing
would
the
you
stone
like to
over here?
know?
Yeah. Hey, put Buster Douglas.
Buster.
Why? So
Motivation or why or what?
yeah, just put why, and I'll show you which one. So the thing with this is, my whole life, Mike Tyson, like, he was my guy, right? So I saw this. Go down a little bit. Okay. Stay right here, but don't go on there yet. So my whole life, I was a huge Mike Tyson fan. When he lost, I was crushed. My superhero fell. You know what I mean? Now that I know the story behind it, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because about 2 months ago, I lost my mom. Okay, my mom's the best friend of my life. And
Man, I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
Appreciate that. When my mom passed, when she closed her eyes, bless her heart, I opened mine. I opened my third eye. I became an empath, because that's what I'm saying. I was in a bad place. I was in a horrible place, right? And I had to get sober before my mom left, so she could leave knowing her son is in that place where she wants me to be. So
That's some real, bro.
So this right here, my idol, and then the kid that beat him, right? Buster Douglas. Everybody knows the biggest upset ever in sports history. ever. It's still the upset ever. Watch this. You'll get goosebumps. And this, for me, it hits home, but it's the most amazing video of my idol getting defeated by a greater purpose.
So I want to watch this. We're going to watch this, but I don't want to let, if you don't mind, I don't want to let this
Sure.
thought trail away, man. I want to come back to how you deal with that. And quite frankly, your journey with sobriety and what that meant to you. So let's check this out, preface it with that, and then let's do it.
Buster Douglas got knocked out. Nobody ever got knocked out by Mike Tyson and ever got back up. It was almost a 10 count. He was stumbling. They were 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Saved by the bell. He goes to his corner. The whole world is like, that's it. Once he comes back out, that's it. Mike's going to just hammering. And exactly that. Mike Tyson came out like, I got him. I got this kid up against the rope. Listen to me, many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope. You can't give up. You can't give in. Listen to me, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And if life's got you backed up, I need you to do what Buster Douglas did. Buster Douglas started fighting back.
This is powerful, man.
Shot.
You are not lying.
Goliath has been knocked down. What happened? And they went to Buster Douglas and they asked Buster Douglas simply, like, what happened? And Buster Douglas said, listen to me, it's real simple. Before my mother died, she told the whole world that I was going to beat Mike Tyson. And 2 days before the fight, my mother died.
Oh, my God.
Buster Douglas had a decision to make. When his mother died, he could die with his mother, or he made a decision, I can wake up and I can live for mom. And he knocked Mike Tyson out simply because his why was greater than that punch. His why was greater than defeat. His why was greater than his trial and his tribulation. And I'm telling you, if you don't know what your why is, and your why isn't strong, you're going to get knocked out every single day.
Who's crying?
Yo.
I'm crying.
Hey, who's cutting onions out here, bro? Seriously, yo, put those onions away. Hey, man, so Impact, right? Like, for real. No joke.
It's about your
My man
why.
Scott out here.
It's about your why, man.
It's all about your why, bro.
Why?
So what's your why, Scott? So talk to me about that, man. So I mean, you gave us a little bit. I get that, man. If we're gonna dive deep, man, if you're open to it,
So,
because look, man, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there's a lot of people out there probably watching that are probably dealing with a lot of the same why.
sure.
That maybe don't have the confidence or the level of, and I want to thank you first off. I appreciate you for coming out here and doing it. That maybe don't have the confidence or the courage to get out and discuss it
Of course.
in depth the way that you're going to, man. So
Gotcha.
talk to me about that.
Well, I was real honest about my drug use. I might as well be honest about my sobriety.
Yeah,
So
that's actually a great point,
The-
right? Everybody puts that out there, but when they
I
get
was
sober, they got to
real,
hide it.
Real. Well, I don't have the same friends, but they weren't my friends. You know what I mean?
You don't hang around the same people. You got the same friends.
Your friends change. I mean, PJ's one of the few, and that's not just because he's standing here. We had this conversation the other night. Like the thing with me, man, I was a functioning drug addict. PJ known me a long time. You couldn't tell. I was functioning. I could do all kinds of drugs, and you wouldn't.
What was your drug of choice, if you don't mind me
Coke and
asking?
methamphetamine.
Okay.
Because they slowed me down. What kind of
Well,
world?
I was like, wait.
What kind of world does somebody live in?
Hold
when
on,
they do
I
coke?
misheard you.
Yeah, because I'm hyperactive naturally. So what kind of world is that where somebody does that to slow their brain down?
So let's step back because you hit on something, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to be one on a podcast, but you're spot on, right? Like they prescribe ADHD kids methamphetamines.
Amphetamine for Adderall.
Like they give them Adderall and Ritalin, which is meth,
So
and it chills them out, right?
so
You're exactly right.
That was my excuse, right? I've always done drugs, but I started letting drugs do me.
You started to self-medicate as well, saying,
Right.
"Hey, I don't need to see a doctor. I've got this."
I mean, I've seen doctors. I used to take lithium, but what's really working on me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I didn't give it a chance. So my why is my daughter, and it was my mom. And like, my mom got sick, and when she got sick, I used to run down the hallway, so to speak. Meaning, like, there was this demon. You got that dream where that demon chases you down the hallway.
Yeah, man,
and
don't
he's
we all?
chasing you. Well, I kept running from him. Doing
Mine
massive
used to be up the
amounts of-
stairs. I don't know if like
So,
walking
but
up the
just, you're
stairs.
just, it's a dangerous small hallway, stairs. You know what I mean? It could just be you keep opening doors, different doors. You know what I mean? And it's symbolic to your life. For me, I kept running from that demon chasing me. That was my mom passing, and drugs. And I just, I was like, I always said, I cannot be in this place when she goes. You know what I'm saying? Because then I'll never come back.
So how did you know the timing? Like, how did you know she was almost there? Or what was the
somebody kind of called me out. I went and saw her, and she was in a hospice. And my sister's the head of the Alzheimer's Association. My sister's name is Virginia Funk. She's the head of the Alzheimer's
Shout out.
A huge shout out. So
Alzheimer's Association of San Antonio.
this is a real problem. We are all affected by it. Everybody's got loved ones. Guys, all time, literally, hit them up.
So, here's the head of the Alzheimer's Association watching it take her mom from her, right? And I mean, I knew my mom got real, like, I can't think of the proper term, you could just tell. Well, I had to change her diaper one day, and I was freaking out. I was like, whatever. And so her nurse pulled me aside, and he goes, "What are you crying about, man?" And he was like, "Cry me a river." And he just called me out. He goes, "How many of your diapers did she change, bro? You can change her diaper and be mad about it. Quit crying about it." So
This is somebody you don't know. This is a nurse.
He knew me, but not enough to talk
Not
to
to,
me.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know grown men who don't talk to me.
And
like
you're,
that.
as I mentioned, by looks, that's not somebody you want to talk to that way. Right? Hey, if I'm going to stereotype.
Say that.
I don't let nobody talk to me like that. But you know what? Nobody knew my mom better than him.
So how did that hit you, bro?
It woke me up. But
So who's this guy, if you don't mind me asking? You talk to him still? Is he an impact in your life? Like,
he was one of her nurses, and his name is Mickey. I think it's Gonzalez or Garza, but he was amazing. And then he called me out again. And he goes, "Hey man, stop doing them drugs." I know police that didn't know I was on drugs. I had my workout partners that didn't know I had drugs. I had girlfriends that didn't know. Not girlfriends. That's a Mitch Hedberg joke. I don't have a girlfriend, but I know a girl who'll get real mad if she heard me say that.
We're not alone in the studio.
So you guys can't see, but we've got guests, live audience.
I brought my Uber driver. She's really
Sorry.
good. So like squirrel. So I felt it coming, and then I knew. I kept saying, so it was just excuses, drug addict excuses. Oh, and this, and poor pitiful me, and oh my life, and blah blah blah. Well, I got high one day, real high for 3 days. It was about 167 days ago. It was pretty much the week of St. Patrick's Day. I'm Irish.
Yeah.
Party
Oh, yeah.
up, right?
Hey, I'm Mexican. I claim it as well.
Hey,
Whatever. Doesn't
Cinco
matter.
de Mayo, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
We'll
let's
try
see.
to
Uniform.
party.
Y'all got to watch episode 3. Check out that joke. Y'all seen it.
So I got high, and my boy for 3
So
Ryan
3 days.
Genesis,
So
thanks, buddy.
you were what? Methed out for 3 days.
I would do coke and meth. Because
Okay.
when I like to do drugs, I want my head to catch fire.
For sure,
Nicolas
for sure.
Cage
No.
and what's that movie where his head catches fire? Ghost Rider.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't get the but
So when I did drugs, I would like my serotonin and my dopamine to leave my body completely, be drained when I was done. Which is, I mean, it's tough.
and so for people that don't understand, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's whatever, like you are literally changing the chemical composition of your brain.
It's the feel good. You're taking the feel good juice.
You're taking all the feel good out though.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like you're using it all in one
and your
allotment.
sponge is dry.
100%. And your sponge gets whacked when it's dry.
So here I am with all this mental trauma on my brain, and I'm taking the good stuff that's left of it.
This is in addition to the physical mental trauma, dude. So this
Right.
okay, yeah,
So,
all right.
Basically, I believe in signs. I'm very spiritual. I believe in signs. I get up. I forgot to pick up my daughter because I slept through the alarm. Way to go, Dad. And I called her mom. She was okay. And it was nothing unusual to not pick her up because I would always pick her up, but her mom lived right by the school. But it was weird this time because she kept saying, "Mommy, call Daddy. Something's wrong with Daddy." And if you have kids, we all have a connection with our kids. From the firstborn to the last one, each kid's a little piece of you, and they're different. And it was different. So I called her and I apologized, and I was like, "I'm sorry." She was like, "Okay," I said I fell asleep, and the usual excuse. And I went outside. I went outside to smoke a cigarette, kicked everybody out of my house, scragglers, people I couldn't even tell you their names right now. And I walk out on the porch, and there's a song by Bob Marley called Three Little Birds. And the beginning of the song says, "Woke up this morning, smiling in the shining sun, 3 little birds on my doorstep." My kid's name is Marley, and the reason I named her Marley is because of that scene from I Am Legend, where he just goes in the whole thing about how Bob Marley got shot, and then he came on stage 2 days later, and he played, and they asked him, "Why'd you do that?" And he said, "Well, the people who are making this place a worse place, didn't take a day off, so why should I? Light up the darkness," right? So I've always been about Bob Marley because it's been to my daughter. You know what I mean? I mean, I have 3 little birds tattooed on my arm. I have I'm obsessed with this little girl. Like, she's amazing. And I walked out on the porch and I see these 2 little birds, and I went, F you and cussing out the maker, whoever's up there, and I want to light a cigarette. Because why? Because there's 2 little birds on my doorstep, right? Yeah, nice try, bro. And I look, and this third little bird hops around the tire. And hand to God, on my daughter, there were 3 birds on the doorstep. So I don't know who was trying to tell me what, but I was like, you know what? I'm done. And that was the last time I ever touched drugs. That was like 167 days ago. And,
So what's that like for you, man? What's your new, God, dude, that's powerful. That's impactful. Like, I'm over here smiling. I don't even know what to ask you. Like, tell me about it. I want to hear more, man. Like,
it's gotten so crazy where, like, the last about week I've talked about 4 people off the ledge, or I never wanted to be that dude, but if that's my calling, cool. You know what I'm saying?
I got to say, man, I'm full disclosure. PJ knows Scott Russell from way back. I met him today when he came in the studio. I've known you for all of whatever 57 minutes, dude. Like, you've got that vibe about you.
Thanks, bro.
You're a leader, man. Clearly, also you've made your own path and determined that's the way you want to walk down. I do have one question I want to ask you because I think it's important. I've been fortunate, man. I thank God, dude. I haven't had the drug problem, but I like to, straight up, right? But I like to have a drink every now and then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I've got to dial it back and say, yo, we're getting a little much. I've got my wife, I've got kids that I can leverage and say, here's my why. You literally just described in Marley that same scenario. Here's the question that I have and that I think is important. What about people that don't have that? Where would they find their why?
Find your why.
Right? Like, so
if it's not your kid and it's not your parent, it's yourself, man. Like I told him, your whole fake it to make it scenario, that was my saying, bro. And
I don't like, so full disclosure, we don't like that. We don't like that.
That's exactly what you're saying.
If anybody knows me, knows I don't like fake people. Don't sugarcoat it. I don't mean to be rude with malice. I'm just gonna tell you, people, I'm 100. No, you're not. You're 99. I'm one. I have no filter, and it gets me in trouble. But I never mean to hurt anybody's feelings. You know what I mean? It's never with. It's never to be ugly. It's never with malice. It's never to be.
I think the world's starting to appreciate that a little more.
Sometimes,
though.
man, everybody gets all like, they get all sensitive about stuff, man. Like, they keep turning on that box, and all that comes out that box is hate. All that comes out that box is somebody shooting somebody or someone doing ugly to. We have to love each other, man.
Absolutely.
My big thing on this, man. Honestly, my big thing is everybody tries to get us in this big whirlwind, even about like race and color and creed, man. The best tennis players are them 2 beautiful women from Compton, California. The Williams sisters, right?
For sure.
The best golfer is Tiger Woods, right? Asian and black dude. And the best rapper is a white boy from Detroit. Stop. You know what I'm saying? Stop.
Exactly.
Love each other, man.
Like if
stop and talk to each other about what's going on. Stop and you know what I mean? Just ask questions. Don't listen to that box with the hate comes. Sorry to go on a rant, but I mean that's all that comes out.
No, not sorry. That's why you're here. That's literally why we invited you on, bro.
That's all that comes out of
crazy.
That hate.
It's crazy that you say that you have these injuries and that obviously your brain's a little different, but honestly, everything you're saying is spot on. You're 100% correct.
Awesome.
And I it's interesting that that's where we are today. Like that is, I mean, people can change, people can grow, and all this racism stuff, this stuff we're holding out against each other. It's nonsense.
That's
man.
What's amazing about comedy, man.
Yeah, let me tell you guys. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What's amazing about comedy? Comedy was so you can laugh, so you can take a break from every day the grind of life. Everybody's in an uproar about the thing with Chappelle. Chappelle's hilarious. Chappelle makes
What uproar? The fact that he can literally call out society for what it is in a way that nobody else can.
But why is anybody surprised? Look at his show.
This is listen, look, here's the thing. If people don't appreciate and understand what Dave Chappelle is doing, right? And that's their whatever, their bag of chips, right? Everybody's got their.
You're falling behind.
It's not that you're falling behind. You're looking away. I think you're looking away. I think Dave Chappelle just calls out what it is, and we want to say we don't want to see that. The other thing, man, that I did want to mention, I real quickly want to bring it back to. You're talking about loving each other, right? And I know this sounds weird. I know this, but we had a boxer on last week. I've come from a fighting background. Our typical co-host Chris comes from as well. Used to be a detective. You obviously, right? It's weird because I feel like through combat sports, you find a mutual love of your combatant that you don't get off of a regular person. It's like that 7th grade fight, right? Like you become best friends with that dude after you fight him.
It's a warrior spirit, bro.
I agree. So
you spill blood with somebody, you can't help but. I mean, I watched Mike Tyson apologize to Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
And he told me, he goes, man, you're just better than me, and it's been a pleasure to go through life. You know what it hurts to, you know how much pride it took for him to swallow and tell him that you're better than me. But you know what? That's what you do because
that's
it's
real.
You know,
life,
and this
man.
and this
It's
and you
peace of
see it.
mind.
I mean, this happens in wartime, right? Like it's we're all going through the same experience. We're all brothers here, and,
I mean,
and that's what it happens. Warrior spirit is
Look
a
at
really
Magic
good way
Johnson
to put it.
and Larry Bird. They hated each other.
100%.
Hated each other. You know why they love each other now? Because they needed each other. Joker needs Batman.
100%.
Magic Johnson needed
Absolutely.
Larry Bird. You know what I mean?
Hashtag.
Sports are amazing. I love it. I love it as much trash as you see.
not
Like
now, right?
as
Disney
much
or Marvel
trash
or
as you
something
see,
like
like
that?
Connor talk about Nate Diaz. I mean, at the end, it's all love because you're blasting each other in the face and you're destroying each other's brain cells, and you know you're taking years off each other's lives, man. It's a brotherhood.
Yo,
At
so
the end of the day,
Connor's
it's a brotherhood. All combat sports, even sports. It's
even
just- it's a
sports,
brotherhood.
it's a competition. And listen, so I do want to step back because I don't want to exclude people that aren't in sports or aren't in combat. Like whatever your, because look, we're all in combat, man. Whatever your day-to-day
You got
grind
the
is,
arts, man.
whatever
you got arts. You got
anything,
music.
it's all
Music food transcends race. And
Music's a big thing in my sobriety, and that's what you're talking about. Your why, man. Your why. If you don't know what your why is, people watch that thing. It's by Eric Thomas, and it's called Your Why. It's with Buster Douglas. It's about 2 minutes long, and just watch it over and over and over, and you'll figure it out. You're not going to know your why. I thought my why was.
The why has to be greater than that.
So this one by Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas got knocked.
That's the one.
It's your why,
It's
and
called
it's,
Know Your Why, Buster Douglas motivation. And the thing is, I mean, your why can change. You know what I mean? My why.
It should change, right? As you grow, as you adapt, as you morph into a better human
My
being,
why
a
is
different person.
my daughter, but it needed to be me too. I like this version of me.
Man, so I love that you said that. I want to say, I think that's the most important thing. And I know that sounds real cheesy. I know that's super Dr. Phil. Oh, well, tell me, Scott.
Yeah.
Listen, but the reality is, man, I can say this from personal experience. If you're not happy with yourself, you'll project that negativity onto everybody you encounter.
What
And
you
it's
put in this world comes back to you.
100%, man. And the problem is it's reciprocal, right? So it's the power of reciprocation, right? It's a revolving door, and it continuously turns. And so if you're putting negative in, you're going to get negative out because you can't really change that. So that being said, right? I feel like we went a little deep today.
People need it. They don't have anybody to talk to. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
And so before we even
we need to talk about it.
I was just going to say,
at least talking about it, having the discussion. I think that's just a part
Some
of it.
people
right?
just they're scared. They don't know what people are going to think of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I became honest, and I was never on Facebook. People knew what I was posting when I was on Facebook and social medias, but now I talk about my sobriety, and everybody knows I was a drug addict, and I tell people like I'm a drug addict. You know what I mean? And you have to.
You
be
said a
100%
powerful
with
statement
yourself.
earlier, man. When you were on drugs, you weren't afraid to go out in public. So now that you're sober, why would you be afraid to shout it? You know what I mean? I thought that was
it's
pretty
hard.
profound.
Sober life is crazy, dude.
So what's the craziest about it? All right. So lighten it up a little bit. Tell me the craziest. What's the hardest thing?
When I'm on drugs,
yeah, I
when
bet.
I'm on drugs, I'm like, yo, what's up, girl? What's up? Like, I'm a rapper. Like, I got all this shit. I'm on drugs. I'm like,
Yo.
hey, mom, like, want to go back? I'm like, you like what you see? I know you do. I look good, girl.
Yeah.
When I'm
hilarious,
off drugs,
bro.
I'm like Goldie Hawn in Overboard. You remember when she's throwing grapes at her? She's like, I can't talk. It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to talk to women, especially sober, because it's like the whole rant with Vince Vaughn. I watch a lot of movies, but I compare them like Vince Vaughn and Wedding Crashers. We talk about the rant. You hug this way when you're dating. It's a whole new world sober, man, because you have to feel everything.
Yo,
When you're on
hashtag
drugs,
sober life.
You're numb. When you're sober, you have to feel
Well, it depends
everything.
the drugs, bro. Certain drugs, you're like, I can hear the colors. No,
Hey,
I'm
but
just
you,
kidding.
but I gotta, we gotta at least mention.
Yes.
Dude, look, you spent a lot of time at the gym, dude. Like, I touched you earlier, and literally, I was like,
We're gonna
what
talk
the
about that
hell?
right here.
Dude,
Yeah,
you
bro.
were hard, like,
Zoom in.
like, yo, man, the guy's hard as a rock.
Hey,
Like,
so
I don't know how somebody gets that hard, but literally, they must make body Viagra.
Yeah,
Because your
bro.
shoulders and neck are hard.
I had to try. Well, I mean, I had. You've always known me a long time. I've always, it's always kind of. It's just a getaway, man. It's so I can.
How
breathe.
often do you go in the gym? How often?
An hour a day.
And that's it? An hour? That's
My
all
mom
you
was
do?
a genetic freak, man. My mom was in the Olympics. My mom was like an Olympic.
You told me
athlete.
this. I was,
Oh, go on that, dude. I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
I ate like trash. I ate donuts and
what
and
the
Twinkies
hell,
and
man?
pizza.
You look like
Yeah.
an Adonis. Like, seriously.
Well, it's genetics, man. And you know what? Like when you know me. Like all the past years you've known me, PJ. Have I ever looked like a drug addict?
Never.
Nope. But I was the
Yeah.
worst kind, the functioning kind that can hide it from people and people he loves. And you know what's worse was if you told me you don't like it, I'll beat you up. I'll punch your teeth out your face. What are you gonna do? And if you did, when people would not give me drugs, I'd go go get them. Well, you told me no. Well, if you don't, I'm gonna beat your ass. Because I knew they weren't there to be my friend. They just wanted to do my drugs, So the gym is a meditation place. It's not like we're gonna get there. It's not that whole bro thing. I go there. I talk to people. I'm listening to my music. I told him a guy that if anybody's out there struggling, a guy I listened to was a guy named. Oh God, it just left me.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
He was on Rogan's podcast. David Goggins. David Goggins is amazing, man. He's wearing a gray shirt on the first Rogan podcast, and it says Pat Tillman Foundation, and he's wearing,
yeah.
a black shirt. He was 100 pounds overweight. He couldn't swim, and he was like, "I'm going to be a SEAL." He had to lose 100 pounds in 3 months. So I got pulled over during my sobriety. They should have took me to jail. They should have straight up just took me to jail. No license, no insurance. I know the guy I was giving a ride. My cook from work had drugs on him. He looked like it. I just was like, hey, I'll give him a ride home. They pull us over, and I'm screwed. And I get out the car, and the guy's real professional. He's real nice to me. Shout out San Antonio Police.
SAPD, Blue Line.
SAPD.
I get out the car, and he goes, man, you're a big old motherfucker. And I was like, what? And we just started talking, and I was like, man, the next day I had to take my daughter to the dinosaur exhibit they have,
At the Whitty or whatever?
Animatronic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to make it. And he just was like, I'm getting ready for him to cuff me. He goes, what are you doing? He's like, we're just going to tow your car. Have a good night. Be careful. That was about 20 days into my sobriety, and I just realized I went to walk home. I had 4 miles to walk home. And that guy's
the easiest 4 miles of your life, bro.
The guy's with me. I said, you got drugs? Where you holding? He goes, yeah. I went, I'll see you later. And he went, what? I go, I got to do something. And I knew I just walked down Walton, went to Raybon, and headed home through the hood, 3 a.m, no shirt on, blaring David Goggins' podcast, just listening to him talking about you have to embrace the suck. You know what I mean?
Embrace the suck, bro. That's a SEAL motto, though.
For real. It's gonna get worse.
So I want to. Oh, go ahead, please.
I just want people out there. If you're listening to this, you need to talk to me. I don't even care if you hit me up. Go to my Facebook, Scott Summers, Russell Hemby, and I'll talk to you. I don't mind it because you know what? It reminds me.
No. Talk to this guy, guys. Hit him up. He's lived that.
It reminds me
you guys
what gets
get
you
him.
here. And if you're going through it, and I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me because this made me what I am now. I'm going to explain my last 4 months to you. I got sober. I got pulled over to let me get away. My mom died. When my mom died, I went and got a form of diverticulitis pretty much, and I was horribly sick. And I was like, nope, still not going to do drugs. And then if you can see my eye, I wish I had a cool story. This is from a brown recluse. I got bit by a
That's kind of cool, bro. Who gets bit by a brown recluse? I was wondering about that black eye.
So literally, we're talking to Spider-Man right now.
No, I didn't get either. I still have a small.
I'm scared. Can you imagine this guy is Spider-Man?
No.
Oh my
I got
God,
none of the powers. I'm screwed. Like
more like Venom.
maybe. What you know about Eminem? You don't know about Eminem.
Well, bro, what you talking about, bro? You want to talk about that? Never mind.
Do we have time?
It's not that kind of podcast.
Whoa, we might have to. Well, we're gonna have to save that.
Oh, we are gonna come back.
We're gonna have to save that.
With that being said,
that's a little teaser.
Yo, but I will say this. So I grew up because you brought it up. We have to. I grew up on Pac. I firmly believe. I'm gonna probably get some hate for this, but there hasn't been as profound a rap voice since Pac as Eminem. Are there better maybe lyricists? Are people maybe?
That's not fair to tell me about because that's my guy.
But that's
when I went to NA. They asked me what your higher power is, and I said my higher power is Eminem.
And yo, you talk about this guy coming back off of
and they all laughed at me and they all made fun of me. And I said, dude, he's the biggest drug addict of our time.
He just made 10 years He just made 10
11.
years. What,
Check
is it
this
11
out.
now?
You have spirit animals. You have soulmates, okay? Your soulmates are like orange dots. You're thrown out in this world and you stick to each other. You don't know why, but you like that person. You love
like
that person. You like their music. You stick to them. I had a dream about doing drugs, okay? I woke up in a cold sweat. I freaked out. I go to my Instagram to
And he posted something up there.
it was his 11-year sobriety check.
Dude, I saw that the other day. That's
So-
what I was talking. That was
so-
like, what, about a month ago or something, right?
No,
2 months ago?
He got sober 420.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah.
My thing with him was
That's way off.
his
Samson.
music really, and it's just might not be your cup of tea. I get it. His music got me there, and his new stuff. I would tell people. I analyze. You get high, you're high for 3 days. You got to do something. I would analyze. I tell people there's nobody to greater have done it. It's just like with you talk about with actors. Robert Downey Jr. That's my guy. Because why? Because he beat the odds. He was the biggest drug addict of our time growing up. So
This is powerful stuff, man, because listen, everybody you're talking about who literally, and you're spot on,
and you have yes
who
men
is the
around
best
you.
of the best, has
Perseverance.
overcome
You
that
have
kind
to-
of
there's perseverance.
perseverance. So
perseverance.
I have a saying that we like to push here, and it's called audacity and tenacity, right? A gentleman by the name of Oscar Fassi taught me this when I was growing up, and what it essentially means is you've got to be audacious enough to try things that people don't believe are possible, and then you've got to be tenacious enough to follow through when you will fail, because inevitably you will fail. You must have that perseverance. You must remain tenacious on your audacity, right? So
100%. I get, and that was the thing is I find it to music, dude. I know so many of these things. I watched a guy named this everybody knows CT Fletcher. He's the loud guy, beard, black. He's like, "What's up, baby?"
yeah.
But I saw this thing on him. If you pull it up online, it's called "Who the fuck are you?" or "Who you are," and it's just him talking about how like doctors will tell him, "Hey man, you can't do that. Hey man, you can't." You know what I mean? He's like, "Nah, they can leave, and I'm gonna do what I want." You control your own destiny, man. You're writing your own movie. You know what I mean? You're the director of your own movie. You can take no for an answer, and you can make excuses. But I'm telling people like
no's the easiest thing. Literally the easiest thing to take for an answer.
Say no. It's fall down 7, stand up 8. That's you know what I mean? I literally look up stuff every day and listen to these people talk, and people post it and people do this, but I'm like, do they really live it? I try to live it because I've had the craziest 4 months of my life. But you know what, man? Like when you lose a parent, like I lost my mom in life, but I gained myself back. You see what I'm saying? Like when my mom passed, it woke me.
She gave you that.
It woke me up back
She
to
gave
life.
you that gift.
And I had to quit ignoring it. And part of it is just I didn't want to be responsible for people and their actions and talking people down. I was just worried about getting me high and getting through my stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like, I got everybody's, and it's not like
So let me
I
say
know
this.
all the answers. It's just
Love you, mom. Love you, mom.
Love you, mom.
100%.
Love you, people. Actually, you're right, man. Love you,
your
mom.
dad.
Appreciate it. Love you, dad. Yeah.
everybody's lost somebody like that.
Here's the deal, man. I think so. I got turned on to. I'm with you. I'm about science. I'll be honest. I grew up in a very religious household, so I kind of backed away from that a little bit. But the other day, I came across I don't know, an article about, I forget what they call it, but they essentially call them Christians, or no, I'm sorry, agnostic Christians, right?
Okay.
So they believe in the teachings of Christ, saying, "Yo, treat people with respect, love everybody, like don't steal, like be cool, But they don't believe in necessarily like the metaphysical aspect of it, right? Like a God that, right? Like, and I'm like,
They're just like be nice to each other.
I'm like, what's wrong with that? Like, that just seems like that makes sense to me. Like, I'm about that life. Like, I don't care about religion, but like in the sense of like, let's be cool with each other. Like, how does that hurt? How, like, if it's like they make the claims they make about environmentalism, right? Like, let's just say the global warming, climate change doesn't exist, right? Like, let's just put all that aside. So we make better, cleaner air in a new industry. Where's the problem? Like, what are we missing here?
How is that bad?
I'm sorry. Am I missing something here?
Right.
Where's the problem? Right? Like, so I'm nicer to people, and we try to actually respect each other. I mean, man, we could go on for hours on this, and we probably would.
Scares people too.
It does.
And I watch people when they get sober, a lot like prison, and there's nothing wrong, man. If you find God, hey, more power to you. Everybody, I told somebody this, and I'm not in no means comparing Marshall Mathers, Eminem to God. But when I was when I went to NA, I
he's a
did
rap
this.
god.
I did this white knuckle. Boom. I did this white.
You see what I did?
I did this with no help. My sister, Jenny, Jenny K.
White knuckle, cold turkey. For
By
those of y'all
myself.
out there, that
No
means
more
like,
lithium, no more anxiety pills, none of that. I did it myself. You know what I mean? Because what's really working? I had to take this road full blast. I had to turn around and fight that monster that was chasing me. It was time to turn around and start swinging. All I do is love these fighters, and all I do is love the fight. When am I gonna fight? You know, when was I gonna start?
So that was the Illuminati video.
And start swinging. The Illuminati was basically just pretty much, bro. It's just fighting for what you believe in. Like, it's fighting for, I believe in myself. I believe on TV. I believe I belong on TV. I believe I should have had a job. I don't.
And here you are.
Everybody has their own niche. Some people think Kevin Hart's the greatest. Some people think Dave Chappelle's great. Some people, but it's
Dave Chappelle owns Kevin Hart. Just for the record,
100%.
I like Kevin Hart, but come on now.
But
you're right.
This
Whatever.
is what I told somebody about music and about I'm not saying the Bible isn't correct, but Bible verses are what get some people through it. M's verses are what get me through it. Because he has a song called Believe, and he has this verse. He says, I'm like the light at the end of the tunnel because people always look to me as they're going through it. That's the same guy that bagged on his mom. That's the same guy that was talking trash about his baby's mama. That's the same guy that killed his baby's mom.
That's the same guy that wrote Not Afraid.
Right.
That's the same guy that went through recovery, man. Like,
also, too, I couldn't listen to that song until now. And he says, it was my decision to get clean. I did it for you. But subconsciously, I think I really did it for you.
Yo, the world's gassed up. Feed it beans. You know what I mean?
But you don't hear about him apologizing to his mom. He wrote a song telling her. He wrote a song called Headlights.
That's hard, bro. Yeah, I know.
But with that being said, music, whatever gets you through it, man. Like, you have to find your why. You have to. If you have kids, I tell people, sorry, this is the way I thought about it. Don't stop picking drugs over your kids. Stop picking alcohol over your kids. Your kids love you more than
that's not
anything.
sorry. That's real.
But you know what I mean?
Life.
Your kids love you more than anything in this world. Anybody that's seen my daughter knows. You can look at her. You have never seen my daughter. I'm gonna show you why I'm gonna show you why I named her Marley, so you see this.
Oh, I can't wait.
Exactly why I named her Marley, bro.
Remember what you told me she did at her, like, she was like at a talent show and she got up there.
I'll tell you that story. So
we got more stories. All right, well, y'all pull that up. You get this.
So
pull up Marley. Do you mind? Can we look at Marley on the screen or no?
Sure.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know.
I can pull it up. I don't.
No, you're good. If you pull up my Facebook, it'll come up.
I'm not on.
Oh, it's all good.
Here.
How are you doing right over there? Is the meter still on in my Uber? Can I get like extra credit in my Uber? Everything I can do.
We're actually making good time here.
Yeah,
we're not too bad. We think we've covered most of the stuff we wanted to cover. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Like, this is kind of the part of the time of the podcast that we give you your time to kind of just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Like,
nothing, man. You're just, you're not to get preachy. I just don't want people to feel like they're alone, man. I know what it's like, and it sucks. And when you're on drugs, it's just you and drugs. I didn't need any people to do drugs with. I did Last Man Standing. It was me by myself. Like, I didn't care. Like, more for me.
There's a lot of that going on, man. Like, I mean, look at what's going on today, man. Look at what just happened in Odessa. Look at all this crazy stuff. Like, there's a lot of people out there that feel lost, feel alone.
Well, man, like, we're supposed to be supportive of each other. You know what I mean? There's never been a time in America where people have consciously taken notice of bullies and stuff like that. But yet we bully each other. People talk all this trash and say, don't bully, don't bully. They get online and troll each other.
I see what you're talking about. Like,
people talk about bullies and the conscience of the world. Don't bully. We've never been more conscious to shame bullies, right? We should shame them because bullies are cowards. But yet people get on these social medias and shame each other and bully each other. You know what I mean?
It happens in the news. It happens in the news, like CNN. But right?
I'm just popping in right now, so I don't know where this conversation is.
I was just
but bullies exist everywhere. Everywhere. In the news and
online, it's horrible though, dude.
Dude, so online, let me tell you guys this. And so part of what we do, part of our platform is online. Mm-hmm. We are marketing. We are going to create an image. We're going to do it. What we will never do, we won't tolerate that.
Right.
Not in this platform. You know why? Because, one, the people that we have in this room, and I'm going to just be real, come say it to our face. You know what I mean? Like,
I've said
first
that
and
before.
foremost, right? Like, so not putting that out there, but second,
Of course.
the other thing is there's no need for that. If you've got a problem, let's have a dialogue, man.
But
We're
they
all
don't-
too smart for that nowadays. We don't need to resort to bullying. People who are cowards who hide behind a keyboard, they don't show their faces in public. These people
No.
would never say that in real life.
That Illuminati video, I've had people get on that thing and be like, "Oh, well, yeah, take some more steroids, Scott Summers, of this, that, and the other." I'm like, bro, like, you would never
If you
talk to
only-
me.
never,
No, but
bro.
You would never talk to me in person like that. Your dad wouldn't talk to me in person like that.
Your dad would.
Dad wouldn't talk to me like that. Like, I'm cool, man. I'm cool. This is what I tell people. You want the Russell Hemby, the Scott Summers that's cracking jokes, not cracking jaws and cracking heads. Because, I mean, you can tell from my past, I don't have, if I'm going to do that to myself, what would I do to you, assist?
Bro, his brains were out of his head. I don't know if y'all saw that.
I stuck them back in and super glued them back together. So, I tell people, man, you have to find yourself. Find yourself first and foremost. No matter how you find your why might be yourself, okay? The last story he was wanting to say, so this is all going on. My mom had just passed this, the talent show pops up, right? And this kid, I don't know if you saw, I'll show you a picture of it so you can see. This kid,
What's the name?
What's that?
What's the name, kid?
Marley.
Oh, your kid.
Your kid, yeah.
Marley Hemby. She's the best. I'm gonna show you this. So this is her.
No, that's Owen Wilson, bro.
I'm just gonna show you something.
Oh,
So
dude,
that's her.
what a cutie. Y'all can't see this, but I promise you,
Hold on.
cutie.
But I'm just from what you've heard me say, right? That's her.
That's awesome, man. I like that pic too, by the way.
That smile.
Yeah. Look
We
at
have
you
a-
too. Look
we
how
have a saying.
genuinely happy you
We have a
look.
saying.
What was that? What did she do with that talent show? You said.
Love you 3,000.
I love you 3,000.
Ah, that's awesome, man.
And
That's
also
awesome.
goes to Robert Downey Jr. because that's his line in that movie, and it really moved me because he moved me with his.
Yeah, the movie moved about the movie it moved.
You move, I move.
Hey, I like it. Hey, so I want to tie it back. So a couple of things. One, Robert Downey Jr. you said was one of your idols,
Sure.
which is dope. You also said, if I'm not mistaken, who was on the other end? You mentioned another one. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Jerry
out on it.
Lynn.
Jerry Lynn. No, Jerry Lynn was the coach, but
that was my daughter's.
no, but your other idol was another individual that had overcome substance abuse. That you mentioned. We'll cue it up. I'll look back. But either way,
There's
both stories. Eminem, duh. How did man? I'm embarrassed.
So-
I'm so embarrassed.
No, but like the thing is like, and to see him come this far, you know what I mean, and to see him become
No.
something so positive, it's like,
So that's my point. So I mean, your two biggest idols, I would also say, arguably, probably two of the largest stars in the world, respectively, are people that have overcome massive substance
I mean,
abuse
how
issues.
cool was it when Tiger won, dude? It was the coolest moment
Bro,
ever.
it was
I
a
don't
great
care what
moment.
anybody-
It was a
people
Sunday
dog
morning.
him. You don't walk in his shoes. You know who else? Ryan Leaf. If you don't know who Ryan Leaf was, he played for Washington State when what's his name? The kid played for Michigan. Desmond Howard did great for Michigan. There was also Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf got messed up on pain pills, broke into somebody's house, and stole their pain pills. This guy was a pro athlete. He played for Dallas. Ryan Leaf too, because I watched him overcome. You know what I mean? I watched him.
So all these people that have overcome, man. So like on that note, so let's unfortunately, by the way, also PJ, maybe I'm stepping out on a limb here, but Scott,
Yes,
you're
sir.
welcome back anytime.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you having me.
No, dude, appreciate
Absolutely.
you being here.
It's been so great having you on.
Super
Just talking
insightful,
to
man.
you, getting a little bit of a taste of what you've been through and
Just a
seeing.
version of me.
Yeah, man.
And we appreciate
I'm gonna
that.
tell you, this is the conversion.
PJ warned me, but I like it.
y'all. So
What I want to say, man, is tying that back. So I do want to bring it back to everybody, right? So you and I have discussed the why. I think your why is massively important. I think I understand where my why is at. We've talked about individuals like Eminem. We've talked about individuals like Robert Downey Jr. God, that's awesome, dude.
Look at that picture, boy.
We've talked about you, bro.
But that guy's a psycho.
Yeah, we know. That's why you're
the
here.
Guy.
But so my point is, man, let's wrap this up because we do have to put a close on it. But what's your advice to people, man, that again can't find that why? Like, what do they read? What do they do? How do they do? And before we go there, I do want to say one thing, if I can. We spoke earlier, and I didn't circle it back, but you were talking about the way you talk to people and about the way you treat people. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this: there's a book. PJ, pull it up, man. I might be wrong. I think it's Harder, Faster, Stronger,
Bigger,
or Smarter.
Faster, Stronger.
And what is it?
Bigger, Faster.
Bigger, Faster, Stronger. Oh, look at Scott knows it. Scott, fill in the content. What did they do with the 5th grade students in the test, and what was the differentiator between the ones they told they were smart and the ones they told they worked hard? Do you remember that part? All right, so I'm going to fill it in. So this goes back to what you were talking about in terms of speaking to people. So in Bigger, Faster, Stronger, or Bigger, Faster, Smarter, whatever the book is, they take I believe it's 500 children, right? I think they're 5th graders, and they take them into hey, Daft Punk. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Better. That's the one. So they take them into a test, and they split them up into 2 groups, 250 and 250, right? So they're all 5th graders or 1st graders or whatever they are. They're all the same IQ.
The trip was intended as a celebration.
They're all the same level of intelligence. And one group, they give one puzzle. The other group, they give the same puzzle. They both complete it. And they tell one group, you guys are so smart. You're just so smart. You did so great. The other group, they tell them, you guys worked really hard at this. I'm really proud of the way you solved it. Great job working hard. So then they ask the groups, they go, who wants a second puzzle? Both of the groups said, I do. The group they told you are very smart, they asked, do you want a harder puzzle? No, we want the same level. The group they told you worked very hard at this, do you want a harder puzzle? We want a harder puzzle. So the Marines, the United States Marines, right, took this same approach, and all of their generals now are not allowed to tell people, you're smart, you're whatever. They said, great job, you work hard. You got to tell people they worked hard because people can learn from hard work. Mm-hmm. You can get to the same goal as somebody who's smart. People who are smart will not, or smart, right, air quotes, will not push the boundaries because they don't want to get those smarts tested, right? This is, in this book, it's a really interesting read.
That's pretty tripped
Can you,
out.
It's true.
Would you mind playing about a minute thing for me?
We can do this. We are going to wrap up after this, so hold on tight. We got a minute deal that we're going to do for our special guest, Scott, because he's asking, what is that, sir?
Type in Denzel Washington.
Never mind. Denzel, we got 2 hours left. Yeah. We're about to watch this.
Fall down 7, get up 8.
Have y'all seen his newest, the series? What's the Equalizer. Oh my God,
Man on Fire is my movie.
Did you watch John Wick 3? You seen that one? John Wick 3? Excommunicado?
Man on Fire is my thing, bro.
Man on Fire.
I'm the sheep that got lost.
So, have you been to Mexico City?
Is this it? We're here?
This one right here. I wrestled in Mexico
That
City.
one.
I lived in Monterrey and I lived in Mexico City right here.
You ready?
And this is it. And this right
La
here.
ciudad de México,
right
bro.
here, guys.
DF.
Un poquito.
Un
poquito español.
Tampico de todo? Whatever.
No sé.
I'm particularly proud and happy about the young filmmakers, actors, singers, writers, producers that are coming up behind my generation. In particular, Barry Jenkins. Young people understand this young man made 10, 15, 20 short films before he got the opportunity to make Moonlight. So never give up. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy. If it was easy, there'd be no Kerry Washington. If it was easy, there'd be no Taraji Henson, Pete Henson. If it were easy, there'd be no Octavia Spencer. But not only that, if it were easy, there'd be no Viola Davis. If it were easy, there'd be no Michael T. Williamson, no Stephen McKinley Henderson, no Russell Hornsby, if it were easy, there'd be no Denzel Washington. So, keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So, keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.
This is powerful, man. This is
sir.
real stuff. Yo, so Scott, I'm assuming you post this kind of stuff.
Go to
Yes.
Washington.
Where do people find you?
If you go to Facebook and you look up Russell Hemby, RUSSELL, Hemby, HEMBY, or Scott Summers should be on it. My Instagram is at Scott Summers with 1 T, SCOT Summers. Like I said, I don't know all the answers, guys. I'm just trying to help people through that darkness and pull them out of the darkness like I was there. So with that being said, man, and if you need to talk, hit me up. Don't be too weird because I'm weirder than you, so it won't work. And other than that, just I appreciate y'all hearing my story and y'all guys having me and not calling the cops.
Scott, the other thing I'll say, man, give it to him one more time. So Scott is the stage name. Russell is
Scott
his real
Summers
name.
is
So
my
for
stage
Russell
name.
Hemby.
So for people that are a little confused about that, I want to clarify that. The other thing I want to say is, man, I am profusely grateful to not only you being here, man, but really opening up and sharing the story, because I can assure you there's a massive amount of people that need to hear this stuff. Also, if I can wrap up on one note, Scott, I want to get your takeaway, but my takeaway is this. Listen, when people think things are cheesy, they're not cheesy, right? Like watching Denzel Washington on YouTube, watching whoever your inspiration is and getting inspired, that's not cheesy. That's getting ready. That's getting set for the game, man. That's whatever you got to do to get up. Get it, man. Use it. Allow these people to be the professionals that they are and inspire you. That's what they're here for. Scott, what's your takeaway, man? What do you want people to know? Give them one more time your contact, brother, and let's go.
My Instagram is Scott Summers, at Scott Summers, SCOTSUMMERS. And with that being said, they said something at my mom's funeral, and I always remember it because I told you this whole time you got to fight, right? So on the side notes of my mom's funeral, it said, always finish the race, fight the good fight, and go down swinging. And with that being said, man, that's just kind of my mantra. Always finish the race, fight the good fight, go down swinging. And, you know, it's fitting. God, family, hustle, man. God first, family second. Man, keep your hustle. Out-hustle people trying to get ahead
True
of you. Out-hustle
hustler.
those demons trying to get to you. Out-hustle them haters trying to, you know, take food, money out of your people's mouths, you know. With that being said, man, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
PJ, what do you got? Close us out, man.
Thank you. Love you guys. Y'all have a good evening, week, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yo, guys, this is episode 4, The Hustler's Huddle, hustling in every way, every shape, every form, bringing it to you live so that you guys can connect with us, the networking podcast about you. Scott, thank you so much. We'll see y'all next time. Later, brother, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Dude,
Love you, brother.
bro.
Thanks, man.
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 Love you, brother.
Bro.